Good evening and welcome to the Whiskey Lovers Society with me, Gert Retief, and tonight we're talking Japanese whiskey. For the people that has been subscribers to my channel over the last 2.5 years, they do know that I do like a good Japanese whiskey, and it is quite difficult to find a bad Japanese whiskey. It sometimes feel that they take a ordinary whiskey and they just make it a fantastic whiskey, and that is something that I do appreciate it from the Japanese distilleries. They do tend to make a nice light friendly whiskey. The only problem that I have with Japanese whiskey, especially here in Belgium, is the price point. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is mostly unaffordable. If it wasn't for the idea of buying a sample, try it before you buy it, I think I will never be able to find or buy some of this very high-end whiskies. Well, high-end meaning could be a 12-year-old in this case, costing a fortune. An 18-year-old Yamazaki can be more than €1,000. For me, that is a little bit crazy. But of course, it's not about the ranting today. It's all about the nosing and tasting. Suntory Hakushu, a 12-year-old, 43% ABV, nothing on the color, and of course there is probably some chill filtration. If I do add color to it, it's not a lot, as you can see on the glass as well. Definitely a very light golden color, even a little straw color. So definitely not a lot of color in it. It is 12 years old. Now, finding any information on this one, if you go on their website, well, what barrels did they use? What was the maturation? No information, but I can assume with this light color, it's probably American oak. So definitely in that 12 years, they didn't pick up a lot of color on this one. Now, of course, it is a relatively young distillery, and age, of course, doesn't mean they know how to produce better whiskies. I've seen some of the distilleries, if you go on their website, they are playing the fiddle. They are telling you that they started in 1700s and they've been doing it for so many years, and that does not mean they know what they are doing. I've seen so many young distilleries now coming up. They are producing something that is absolutely fantastic, and of course at a much cheaper price point as well. So age, well, not the age statement whiskey, but of course a whiskey that is still relatively young can be a fantastic whiskey. And I'm ranting again. So on the nose, the Hakushu, 12 years old, 43% ABV. Oh, the nose is, I think this is the main point for me with Japanese whiskies, is that the nose is absolutely that friendly nose, that sweet nose, that something that when you, even for people, well, if you are not even a whiskey drinker, you will definitely enjoy it. Now, for me, I think the gateway to with the whiskey from Japan, of course, I am a big fanboy of the Yamazaki. This one, I think this one of the first ones. Nika from the Barrel also was one of the whiskies that I tried. Big strong boy, wee little 500 milliliter bottle, but I did enjoy that. And for me, this one, that lovely lightness is there, that summer in a glass notes. There's that lovely, delicate, friendly, sweet. There's a little bit of a vanilla note coming through, green apples. And I also get a little bit of a oak dusty note. Wow, that is really nice. That 43% ABV, even if you give it a little bit of an agitation, It's not kicking you. It's it releases a little bit of that ethanol note, but a very faint ethanol. A little bit of that nail polish remover, but little, just a wee tad. You really need to wake it up to get a little bit of that nail polish note. That appley note, that green apple note, apple cider note coming in, pear note, and a little perfumey note in the end. This is really nice. It's light, bright, fruity notes. And every now and again, I even get a hint of, just a hint of a toasty oaky note. So quite pleasant on the nose, and definitely something, if the nose go into the taste and all those lovely light flavors come out, I will be very happy. That dusty note, especially if the glass is a little bit far from the nose, you get a little oaky, dusty note. And yeah, that is really nice. Love the nose on the taste. Cheers. The first thing that you get is a sweet, oaky, a little bit of a tannin coming through, a little bit surprise. Well, maybe not a big surprise. It is 12 years old, but it's sweet oak. And after taste, a little bit of a vanilla coming through and a little bit of an apple note. But this time it's not for me a green apple. It's more a sweet red apple that comes through. It's a sweet spiciness, and then that apples. And then definitely I'm picking up some of that tannins that comes through. And I think it is quite important to have a little bit of that tannins. It brings down that sometimes a little bit too sweet whiskey, just to tone it down, just to bring a little bit of a balance to the whiskey. Let me just give it one more try. 43%. I would have loved to try it a little bit higher, 46, 48%, and give me the opportunity to add a drop or two of water to balance it to the perfect taste for me. But this is nice. That freshness, that crispness, that apple notes is definitely coming through, and that vanilla. Definitely not a viscous one. There's not a creaminess to it. There's not the oiliness to it. It leaves your mouth a little bit on the dry side. And of course, there's a little bit of a spiciness to it as well. And every time when I go back on the nose, it's just a little bit sweeter on the nose as well. But that orchard fruits definitely coming out. A little bit of a pear note as well. Really, a hint of a cinnamon now up here. I did not pick it up in the beginning, but there is definitely a little bit spicy, and I would say a little bit of a cinnamony note that comes out. Now, I also, well, normally I don't do it, but I did some research on this one, tried to find out a little bit more information for the people that wants the history, well, not the history, but the history of this whiskey. Very difficult to find, and I did see some of the tasting notes that they offer. And now a little bit of a herbal note that comes through. That is really pleasant. Now, color-wise, they talk about champagne gold. Now, that's a little bit too much. But when they talk about nose-wise, they talk about basil, the plant, not the guy from Fawlty Towers. I can see that. I can see that little herbal note that comes out. And I think it's also plays the tricks with the mind, with the green bottle. And I think if you put the two together, the green, sometimes they do trick the mind in finding something that you normally would not. Power of suggestion is a strong thing. They also talk about pine needles. Well, part of the green, definitely not getting any pine needles in it. And of course, they talk about green apples. Now, green apples, oh, definitely loads and loads of green apples in this one. And on the taste, they talk about the apples, they talk about the pears, sweet pears, and I can definitely see that sweet pears, sweet apples note. So sometimes you get it right, and sometimes, ooh, I wonder where they get all this information from. One more try. Cheers. Absolutely lovely. Now, it's not a complex whiskey. It's not a whiskey that it jumps out and you have to have it. It's not a whiskey that you're going to say, I'm going to start chasing this whiskey. I'm not going to sit there and talk for an hour about all the aromas coming out. It's not that complex. It's not a whiskey that really stands out from the rest. Now that brings me to the price point. Now this one, I've seen it from 160 to more than 200 euros here in Belgium for a 70 centiliters, 700 milliliters, 12 years old, and bottled at 43%. I think they think they are Macallan, that they can charge a lot of money for a not really a mediocre whiskey, but a down-to-earth whiskey. Now, is that something that I would pay? Would I pay 200 euros for a 12-year-old whiskey? No way in hell. I like it. In fact, I kind of love it, but I'm quite happy with trying it. Try before you buy it. Am I going to buy it? I think not, but it is a lovely whiskey. So what do you think? Have you tried it? Is that something, are you willing to fork out 200 euros or $200 for a 12-year-old Japanese whiskey at 43% ABV? I'm not so sure. Please leave a comment and let me know. Have you tried it? What do you think about it? And of course, as usual, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. All ad revenue, all the super chats, all the buttons that you can press, all that money leads to children in South Africa. 75 kids facing a tough time, and we are here to make things a little bit better for them. So let me know in the comment if you want more information. I will gladly send you everything that I have. So see you next time. And I've got a surprise coming. I did make a video on my wish list for 2024. I set the bar a little bit high for me, and I got a hit. So subscribe. I will also put a video here. You can go look at the ridiculous wish list that I created, and I'm going to tick the box on one of them. So quite excited about that. So see you next time. Cheers.